Learning English is like building a house. Words are like bricks, strong, useful, but only bricks, just a pile. Grammar is like cement. Cement joins bricks all together. With grammar, words become sentences. Grammar helps you speak. In this course, we learn grammar step by step. Present, past, future, and more. Let's jump in. In this chapter, we focus on simple present, present continuous, and the differences between simple present and present continuous. Also, we learn adverbs and expressions of frequency that we call it dinosaur. Alright, simple present. How we add s, es, or ies to our verbs. The rule of adding s to verbs in simple present, starting with s. For most of the verbs like work, we add s to the verb. So work will be works. Or for example, cook, cooks. Study, which ends in y, we first must omit or delete y and change it to ies. Study, studies. What about the verbs ending in ch, c, g, sh, s, z, and x? In this case, we add es to the verb. Therefore, finish gonna be finishes. Or for example, watch, watches. Go and do. For these two verbs, we add es to the verb. Goes, does. And finally, you may ask, what about irregular verbs? Have. I have a car. But for she, we say, she has a car. Now let's practice. Write sentences with the simple present. Adverbs and expressions of frequency. We often use the simple present with adverbs and expressions of frequency. Adverbs of frequency, such as usually, often, always, never, hardly ever, or rarely, come at a specific position in the sentence. We have an acronym for these adverbs that we call dinosaur. Don't worry, it's easy. So, N stands for never. For example, I never smoke. A stands for always. She is always happy. Be careful, we put always after to be verb. Sometimes. They sometimes travel. Often. We don't often argue. So as you notice, in the negative form, we put the auxiliary before the adverbs. Another example, it doesn't usually rain. Hardly ever or rarely. It rarely rains in Tehran. How about D? It's an expression, like every day. Where do we put the expressions? They can come at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. Therefore, I go to work every day. Adverbs of frequency go before the main verb, but they always go after be. Expressions of frequency such as every day, once a week, or twice a year go at the end of the sentence. Now let's practice. Put the words in the correct order. Present continuous. We use present continuous for three different purposes. Number 1. for things happening now, at this moment. For example, what are you doing? I'm sending a message to Sarah. Number 2, for temporary things that are happening now. For example, my brother is taking a 2-month vacation in the US. And number 3, to describe what's happening in the picture. For example, in this picture, the woman is standing near a table. Now let's check the structure for present continuous. Be plus verb plus ing. Be careful, be and to be are different. To be is, am, is, are. Be is something like I am, you are, he is, and other examples. I'm working. In the negative form, I am not working. Or in the question, are you working? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. You are working. That you can also say, you're working. Negative form, you aren't working. How to add ing to verbs? In most cases, we just add ing to the end of the verb. For example, cook, cooking. Study, studying. If the verb ends in e itself, then first we delete the e, then we add ing. For example, live, living. And if the verb finishes in consonant plus vowel plus consonant sound, we double the final consonant. For example, run, running. It's practice time. Write sentences with the present continuous. So in this chapter, we learned how to use simple present to talk about our daily routines or things that are always true. Also, we learned the difference between simple present and present continuous. Now it's time to jump in past and learn past tenses. Regular, irregular verbs, past continuous, and also connectors and time sequencers. Let's get into it. Simple past. We use the simple past to talk about finished actions that happened once or more than once in the past. The form of the simple past is the same for all persons. Regular and irregular verbs. Regular. In positive form, for example, we stayed at a hotel last summer. And negative, he didn't stay with friends. Question: did you stay for the weekend? Yes, I did. Or no, I didn't. Irregular: I went to Turkey twice last year. She didn't go to Thailand. Did you go to Montreal? No, we didn't. Why did you go? We use didn't plus base form of the verb for negative and did plus subject plus base form for the questions. Remember, auxiliary, subject, base form. For example, did you go out last night? Or question word, auxiliary, subject, base form. For example, where did you go? Spelling rules for regular verbs of simple past. In most cases, we only add ed to the end of the verb. For example, work, worked. Stay, stayed. But if there is already an e at the end of the verb, we just add d. For example, like, liked. What about verbs that end in y? We change y to ied. For example, study, studied. Be careful, Y must be after a consonant. And if verb finishes in consonant, vowel, and consonant, we double the final consonant. For example, stop, stopped. If you enjoyed this package, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. This really helps me keep creating more content for you. Now let's practice. Put the verbs in parentheses in the simple past. Past continuous. We use the past continuous to describe an action in progress at a specific moment in the past. For example, at 8:45 last Saturday, this is the specific time, I was walking in the park. I was walking in the park is an action in progress. We often use the past continuous to describe the situation at the beginning of a story. For example, in 1972, I was living in London. Let's check the structure of past continuous. Was or were plus verb plus ing. For I, he, she, and it, we use was plus ing verb. And for you, we, they, we use were plus ing verb. In the negative form, for I, he, she, and it, we use wasn't. For example, I wasn't working. And for you, we, and they, we use weren't. For example, you weren't working. What about question? Was he working? Yes, he was. Or no, he wasn't. Were they working? Yes, they were. Or no, they weren't. Simple past or past continuous. We often use the past continuous and the simple past together in the same sentence. We use the past continuous to talk about a longer action that was happening in the background when the shorter simple past action happened. We were walking in the gardens. This is the longer action. When he took a photo of us. This is the shorter, simple past action. My sister arrived when I was having lunch. My sister arrived is the shorter action, and I was having lunch is the longer action. It's practice time. Complete the sentences with the verbs in the past continuous. Time sequencers. We use time sequencers to say when or in what order things happen. For example, on their first date, they went to a restaurant. After that, they started meeting every day. Another example. On Thursday, I had an argument with my boss. The next day, I decided to look for a new job. We sat down to eat. 2 minutes later, my phone rang. We use when as a time sequencer and also to join two actions. For example, I was watching TV when the phone rang. In this example, two verbs joined by when. Another example. When I came out of the club, he was waiting for me. The accident happened when I was crossing the road. Connectors, starting with because and so. We use because to express a reason. For example, she was driving fast because she was in a hurry. We use so to express a result. For example, she was in a hurry, so she was driving fast. But and although. We use but and although to show a contrast. For example, she tried to stop the car, but she hit the man. Although she tried to stop the car, she hit the man. Although can go at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. For example, she couldn't sleep although she was very tired. Be careful. With although, we cannot use but. Instead, we only pause, or in writing, we put a comma. The most common way of linking consecutive actions is with then or after that, but not after. For example, I got up and got dressed. Then or after that, I made a cup of coffee. Now let's practice. Complete the sentences with so, because, but, or although. As now you know how to use simple present, present continuous, and past tenses, it's time to learn some future forms. In this chapter, we want to learn how to use be going to and present continuous to talk about future arrangements. Be going to. We use be going to plus base form to talk about future plans or intentions. For example, I'm going to give a talk at a conference. Or, he's going to meet me at the airport. We also use be going to plus base form to make a prediction when we know or can see that something is going to happen. For example, it's winter, so it's going to be cold. Look at that car, it's going to crash. Now let's check the structure of be going to. As you know, be is I'm, his, she's, or other examples. Therefore, in the positive form, I'm going to. You, we, they are going to. He, she, it is going to give a talk. Be careful. Give is in a base form. Negative examples. I'm not going to give a talk. Or, he isn't going to give a talk. And question. Are you going to give a talk? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Is he going to give a talk? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. It's practice time. Complete with be going to. Present continuous. We often use the present continuous with a future meaning, especially for future arrangements. It means for plans we have made at a fixed time or place in the future. Don't use the simple present for this. For example, I see an old friend tonight is completely wrong. Positive examples. I'm seeing an old friend tonight. She's arriving at lunchtime. In negative form, she isn't leaving until Friday. They aren't coming to the party tomorrow. Question. What are you doing this evening? Is he meeting us at the restaurant? The restaurant is the place we have arranged to meet. If you enjoyed this package, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. This really helps me keep creating more content for you. Now let's practice. Read the sentences. Write N for now or F for future. Defining relative clauses with who, that, and where. We use defining relative clauses to explain what a person, thing, or place is or does. We use who for a person. For example, that's the woman who won the lottery last year. A chef is a person who cooks food in a restaurant. Use that for a thing. For example, a clock is something that tells the time. Is that the book that won an important prize? And we use where for a place. For example, a post office is a place where you can buy stamps. That's the restaurant where I had dinner last week. Remember, we can also use that to talk about a place. For example, a post office is a place where or that sells stamps. You can also use that instead of who. For example, she's the girl who or that works with my brother. You can use which instead of that to talk about things. It's a thing which or that connects to computers. Now let's practice. Complete the definitions with who, that, or where. In this chapter, we want to learn present perfect. We will learn the structure and the use of present perfect. In addition, we will learn an acronym that we call it GENIE, which we use with present perfect. We also see the difference between simple past and present perfect. Let's jump in. Present perfect. We often use the present perfect to talk about the recent past and its relationship with the present. For example, I have cleaned the refrigerator, so now it looks new. We don't say exactly when things happened. For example, I have cleaned the refrigerator, not I have cleaned the refrigerator 10 minutes ago. Another example, he hasn't done the dishes. Can you help me do them? The concert starts soon. Have you turned off your phone? Yes, I have. We also use present perfect to give recent news. For example, Mary has had her baby. A package has arrived for you. Now let's check the structure of present perfect. For I, you, we, and they, we use have as an auxiliary verb plus past participle form of the verb. Therefore, I have finished washing the dishes, or we have finished washing the dishes. Also, we can make the auxiliary contracted. So I have becomes I've. I've finished washing the dishes, or we've finished washing the dishes. And in the negative form, we add not to have. Therefore, I have not finished washing the dishes, or I haven't finished washing the dishes. In the question form, we put have at the beginning of the question. So, have you finished the exercise? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. For he, she, and it, we use has as an auxiliary verb. So, he has finished washing the dishes. And in the contracted form, we change has to apostrophe s. Therefore, his finished washing the dishes. And in the question form, has he done the homework? Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. For regular verbs, the past participle is the same as the simple past. For irregular verbs, the past participle is sometimes the same as the simple past. For example, buy, bought, bought. And sometimes it is different. For example, do, did, done. With present perfect, we usually use different time expressions. And here we want to use an acronym for 5 of the most important time expressions with present perfect. Let's call it Genie. But what does Genie stand for? J stands for just, which means very recently. For example, she has just arrived. E stands for ever. It means any time in your life. And we use it in the question form. For example, have you ever been to Canada? A stands for already, which in present perfect means before. For example, I have already done the dishes. N stands for never. For example, I have never smoked. And Y stands for yet, which we often use in negative and question form. And we put it at the end of the question or negative sentence. For example, haven't you finished your homework yet? No, I haven't done my homework yet. So remember, Genie, just, ever, already, never, yet. And none of these 5 words specify any exact time in the past. We also often use the present perfect to talk about past experiences, or to talk about the recent past when we don't specify a time. In questions and negatives, we often use ever, which, as I said, at any time in your life, and never. Let's check more examples. She has been to New York 3 times. As you see, we don't know when she went to New York. Have you ever been to IKEA? I have never met Nina's husband. He's seen that movie twice. And again, we don't know when he has seen that movie. It's practice time. Write sentences with the present perfect. Present perfect or simple past. Conversations about experiences or the recent past often begin in the present perfect with a general question and then change to the simple past to ask for or give specific details. For example, have you ever been to Mexico? Yes, I have. When did you go there? I went last year. So as you see, first we asked a general question. Have you ever been to Mexico? And then we asked a question in detail. Like, when did you go there? Another example. Have you seen his new movie? Yes, I have. What did you think of it? I loved it. Been and gone. Let's compare the present perfect of be and go. For example, Mike has been to Paris, or Mike has gone to Paris. What is the difference? Mike has been to Paris means he went to Paris and came back. But Mike has gone to Paris means he is in Paris now. One more practice. Complete the conversation with the present perfect or simple past. Thank you for studying with me through this course. I hope these lessons have been helpful for you. Now, if you'd like to continue learning with Part B and Part C of the course, you can get access to the full packages directly from me. Just send me a message. I'll give you all the details on how to continue.